Hey, everybody. Hey, this is Chris Cook, Symmetry Financial. Appreciate everybody being out there and on time. I do apologize. I was on a Zoom session, just my own little private Zoom session, apparently. And so getting with you guys live and in effect. And we will go ahead and get started, get kicked off. My name is Chris Cook. I'm here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I'm direct to Symmetry Financial Group. So thank you guys for being on time. Let's go ahead and get into it, get into the leaderboards this past week. Quick sound check. Tina, can you hear me on the other end? You got me? All right, good deal. All right, good deal. I want to make sure I was live and in effect. That is awesome. All right, leaderboards this past week. Love talking about people going out there and making it happen. We've got Steve Durgan, 3,243 this past week. Mr. Val Zarn, 3,286. Getting into our top three, we got Mr. Grant Reynolds. Way to go, buddy. $5,935 in premium volume. We got Elijah Carujo at, sorry, Tina, it shows you I'm going blind later on in my life. Is that 6,000 or 8,000? Anyway, it looks like $6,694 in premium. If that's different, it just shows you I need reading glasses. I promise you that. I am going blind, so apologize that, folks. Old age is getting me. Sharon Casanova coming into number one overall spot, and I can read this one, folks. 9,546 in premium volume this past week. Way to go, Sharon Casanova. Super proud of you, buddy. You've been putting up some huge numbers here lately. 9,546 in a week, Sharon. Super proud of you, lady. That is a super way to go, and super proud of you and what you're doing and what you're building here. I think some special things are ahead for you, buddy. So good stuff. Number one in app count this past week, Miss Laura Davis, 5 applications. Way to go, Laura Davis. And let's get into groups of the week this past week. We've got the number 2 group, which is a key leader organization, Mr. Val Zarn and their organization, $14,828 in premium. Way to go, Zarn organization. Way to get the month of June kicked off right. You guys are on pace to qualify as an agency this month. It's another first month attempt at that right there. So hopefully you guys get it done this month. You're definitely on pace after 1 week. Number 1 overall group for the week, Mr. Grant Reynolds and that organization, guys. They continue to put up strong numbers each and every week. $16,279.68 out of the Grant Reynolds Agency Owner Organization. Way to go, buddy. You guys are definitely on pace to probably top your best 4-week month ever. So good stuff there. Love to see you guys hit all your numbers that you guys want to hit there. We've got STPs. These are people that are sharing the plan more than 10 plus times in a week that we've got reported to us. We've got Barry Davis, Jared Gillum, Betsy Barr, Seth Hughes, Dustin Hensley, and Mr. Mark Neubauer. Love seeing all that on the leaderboards this past week as far as our building a business leaderboards. We've also got brand new recruits with that. What that does, if you're out there showing the plan, that leads you to people that are they find people. If you're going out there and you're sharing the plan consistently, you start to find people, and you start to find really good people to be in business with, because Symmetry has such an amazing opportunity. So make sure you're on the leaderboard. Get with a key leader agency owner today on how you can get on that leaderboard next week. Recruits in this past week, we got Barry Davis with 1, Jared Gillum with 1, Val Zarn with 1, and Mr. Grant Reynolds with 1. Way to go, everybody, on those leaderboards. New writers this past week. Love talking about new writers. April Ricker, part of the Paul Sharp organization, part of the Grant Reynolds hierarchy. Way to go, April Ricker. Super proud of you, buddy. Welcome aboard. I've seen you on a lot of our Zoom sessions, and we're expecting great things from you. Yeah, so looking forward to seeing great things from April Ricker. So proud of you, buddy. That is really good stuff. I think I've got everything on that right there. Miss Tina, you're in my office today. If you hear me missing anything, or if any of the numbers I'm rattling off are incorrect, please bring them to my attention. And you can bring them up here to me, because I know you're in the office here. So, all right, let's get into a couple of things. Round 2 Costa Rica contest continues. You guys saw me. I put out the people that were in our contest last week out on GroupMe. So we're in the round 2 of that right there. The winner of that contest, the top 6 people in the entire company, get to go on to take a all expenses paid trip to Costa Rica at the that contest ends July 31st. And I'm telling you, folks, you don't want to miss that. Me and my wife went to Costa Rica with Symmetry last year. That is a phenomenal place. They're staying at the Four Seasons. It's typically all expenses paid, airfare, food, your cold drinks that you get there, all of that expenses paid. It's a tremendous opportunity. If you're in that top 10 and you're going for that qualification, I encourage any of you guys to really make a run at that. I mean, you're going to have to put up some great numbers because you're going up against great competition, but you're talking about some life-changing trips, and certainly those trips changed my life over the years. It changed my perspective on what I could do. And that power of association with the leaders that you get to associate on trips like that, I just encourage a lot of you guys that are in that to really take that serious and take it as a challenge and a step that you can take you and your business to another level, the way you think to another level, if you qualify for that right there. So also tomorrow, we've got the new agent call coming up at 11 a.m. Eastern. That's designed for brand new agents or agents that have been with us a while, or agents that just want to, hey, maybe do a reset and get more effective with their business. We've got it hosted by Jordan Gillum tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you plug into that. Jordan's also a special guest on our call today. She's going to be hosting Book of the Month, but I also wanted just to keep going on that right there. So, guys, I'm just saying, key points there. Make sure you're paying attention to the things. I know a lot of our key leaders, agency owners, may be throwing their own individual contest this month. Make sure you're getting with them today. Make sure you understand how you can participate in those events to be able to go out there, earn lead credit or whatever they've got going on in their organizations. And it's a great opportunity for everybody to grow, because right now most states are opening up from COVID, and you have the opportunity to see people in person. You have the opportunity to see people via Zoom session. You have the opportunity to do it telesales. Good news is you have that opportunity, and it's all across the United States. It's not limited to a small amount of people. This thing is wide open, and you have the opportunity of a lifetime to go out there and make it happen for you and your family. No matter what financial situation you're in, be it good or bad, you can go out there and make it happen this week for you and your family. So just encourage you guys to take advantage of that, because there's a lot of great things, a lot of great potential out there that you guys can go take advantage of. So let me do this right here. Jordan here on the main screen. Hey, Jordan, I'm going to make it an opportunity for you to unmute yourself right here. And then after you do that, I'm going to close it out for the group. The group will have the opportunity for a second. For some reason, I can't get yours to unmute. So let me do that in the settings here. So go ahead and unmute yourself now, Jordan.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I got you loud and clear, buddy. Now I'm going to go off, and since you're unmuted, I'm going to allow everybody else to not do that. So, all right.
That's okay. I do want to make a quick announcement that I am not driving. Jared is driving.
I'm going to say, it's going to be impressive. You're doing it going down the road. So awesome.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I am not that good at multitasking.
That's talented. Yeah. Yes. So, well, Jordan, I appreciate you getting on the call with us today, buddy. I know you're going to talk to us today about the Book of the Month and the Ultimate Sales Training Success Guide by Miranda Martin. So I'm going to let you go away with it, buddy.
Awesome. Okay. So honestly, a lot of the things I was going to cover today was just covered in the 10 a.m. call, which in my opinion couldn't have been lined up better for me as far as explaining how this book is relatable to our business, because what they talked about today was about, you know, how can you make a bigger impact on the families that you're sitting in front of? And I wanted to address the think about it as well, because I think that the biggest issue that we're up against right now is the fact that we are, you know, we were removed from a certain level of communication, which is that face-to-face body language, understanding, you know, somebody on 100% complete level by being there with them in person. So now that we're working telesales and remote sales, I think that one of the major things that we hear is that the family needs to think about it. So I was covering with the book, you know, the main reasons why a family would need to think about it, about doing business with you. There's normally about 3 different reasons. First one is because they don't like you, which what are the odds of that? That's probably not a thing. But if it is, it's normally about 5 to 10% of the families you sit with, they're going to not like you just because of something about you. Maybe they ran into somebody who had red hair earlier that day who cut them off in traffic, and you remind them of them, and it's just they don't like you. And that's no big deal. It's a very short period, like short percentage of the people who are going to need to think about it. But there are two different other things. The second one is that it's too expensive. The coverage that you showed them, it's too high of a price, and all you need to do is adhere to that and drop the cost of the coverage, drop the face amount, and assume that that works better for the family. But the third one is that they just don't understand everything that you're covering with them. And I think that if we could do a better job of communicating, especially with the fact that we do have this obstacle in our way, and make the obstacle our way and apply what we're learning in this book, we could help more of the families that just don't understand everything. So I could say that there's probably, if you could help 33% more of the families that you're getting to think about it from, in terms of money, you should be able to add about $1,000 a week into your advances. But aside from that, what that ultimately means is that you're going to help 2 more families every single week be able to have peace of mind, to be able to, sleep better at night, and know that if something does happen, that there is something in place, whether it's just a couple months of the mortgage would be made, or the whole house could be paid off. 2 more families every single week. And there's nothing better than that level of impact. So Dustin covered last week the learning pyramid that you learn in the first couple of chapters of Miranda's book. And I think that our largest hurdle, like I was talking about, is clarity, clear communication. And whenever we try to improve communication, we've got to look at not just how they're receiving you, but what are some ways, because you can't really control how the family receives the information that you're giving them, but what you can do is control how you're delivering it to them. So there are 2 main root issues. Miranda talks about it in terms of if you're training somebody, you know what I mean? Like the learners are the people that you're training. In relevance to sales, the learner is the client. The client is learning something when you're with them. They're learning they have a problem. They're learning you have a solution, and they're learning how to take care of that with you. And so there are 2 main root issues that your learner and your appointment, they'll need to think about it because you fall short on communication. And the first main root issue is that you assume that communication is clear. So when an assumption is made, we all know what that means. So that's the first one, is that you assume communication is clear. And then the second root issue is that you don't have 100% buy-in from the client. So I have defined buy-in in relevance to our sales experience is that there's 2 things that you need on a buy-in. One is that the client is open to our help. And the second is that they understand the need for the product, whether it's mortgage protection, final expense, DFL. They understand they understand their need for the product itself. So if the client misses this buy-in, they won't care enough to understand what mortgage protection could actually do to help them. They're not going to care, because if they don't understand that they need it, then why do they care what it does? So there were 6 topics that Miranda says is the missing points in the communication. And it's our traditional who, what, when, where, why, and how. So I didn't have 6 fingers, so I was just counting here and did another one. So the first one is who, and I'm going to run through this quickly because I know we're short on time. And also, I do believe that with reading this book and applying the training that Symmetry provides, I mean, the 10 a.m. call was excellent. That if you can answer these 6 questions in ways of making sure the client understands, then I think that you can go ahead and improve your business tenfold. So whose way is better? That's what the who stands for. How do we help the client trust our expertise over State Farm or Alex Trebek talking on TV? And that's by establishing a solid and clear role and purpose, just like Tim Penso just did on the call. If you can establish a solid and clear role and purpose, they're going to understand your expertise and what you're there to do. The second is what. So they don't know what to do. So why would a family not know what to do after you ran through your presentation? And it's mainly because of 2 things. Your setting of expectations fell short, and that it wasn't confirmed. So the second is that your expectations weren't confirmed by the client. And Tim said it exactly the way that I was addressing it right here. So I'm just gonna share my bullet point on that. So, when we're setting expectations in our role and purpose and that it wasn't confirmed, we're falling into those root issues of the fact that we assumed that communication was clear and that there was no buy-in. So after you have established your role and purpose, you need to ask them if they understand with a clearly stated sounds good. So like you say, sound good. And when they agree with your process, they're giving you permission to move forward with your way of helping them. So where they don't know where to use it. So how could a family not know where to use the mortgage protection after you ran through your presentation? So your level of questions that you ask the family correlates directly with your level of impact. You want to pre-plan your questions for your family prior to your appointment for them to understand and learn where to use the mortgage protection, and it's best to make it a discussion. Excuse me, I'm gonna take a quick drink of water. So ask questions that have the client paint you a picture of their current plans and their situation and how the mortgage protection actually helps them. So I think 2 clear questions, I wrote them down earlier, is, for example, what will happen if John passes away? That's a quick question, open answered, so that the client can paint you a picture of what's going to happen if something happens to John. But the other one, as far as understanding how the coverage can help them, as far as an open-ended question, is like, if there was a check in the mail for 12 months of your mortgage payments, how would that benefit you during that time? So you're painting the picture of what the coverage will actually do for them at that time. And they're going to tell you exactly, excuse me, I'm just trying to find where I left off my notes. There we are. So by that, they will be able to explain to you directly what the coverage can do for them. And then they understand it when it's a discussion. So the next one is, when is this needed by? I think each one of us can ask ourselves honestly, am I clearly telling the family in my role and purpose that I will be helping them apply for the program today? Because if not, you need to plug back into today's conference call by listening to it on SoundCloud, or plug into Ayers and Cicely Newsom's training on establishing role and purpose, and take notes and apply what you're going to learn. This is not something that I feel I need to repeat because it's already been said and it's out there for us. So go on to SoundCloud, go to Establishing Your Role and Purpose under Symmetry Financial Group's playlist, and Ayers and Cicely Newsom will walk you through establishing the role and purpose. So do that, take the notes, and apply what you learn. The next one is, why is this important? And I know that this one sounds rhetorical, because when we assume that the family knows that the insurance is important, like Miranda says, you're making, a rear end out of you and me. So we can't assume just because they sent in a letter that they understand 100% that the coverage is important. Like, it sounds good, but how do they know it's important? So I wanted to share some statistics with you guys. 55% of all home foreclosures are due to death and disability. 1 out of 3 millennials will experience a disability in their lifetime. Now, I want to share something also. No one thinks it's going to happen to them. Not me. It's not going to happen to me, right? I got some more. 1 out of every 2 men will have a heart attack in their lifetime. And 1 out of every 3 women will have cancer. Once again, no one thinks that it'll happen to them. So a good way to get somebody to understand the importance of mortgage protection and insurance is by sharing real stories with your families to help them see the importance of the mortgage protection. If you don't know somebody who has cancer, or somebody who had a heart attack and how it financially affected them, somebody who was forced into retirement after being disabled for 2 years, and then all of their insurance is gone because they relied on their work insurance. If you don't know stories like that, get with your upline. They will share stories with you that you need to share with your family so they can feel how real it is and how important the coverage is. And last but not least, they don't know how to do it. So there's the how. So the reason why learners don't know how to do something after being trained is because they didn't retain or understand what was delivered to them. Now, if you knew that 65% of people are visual learners, how can you improve your process? So your process is that you're trying to relate to them in regards to mortgage protection, right? You want to get them to understand the coverage, why they need it, who you are, what you're doing. But if you understood they were visual learners, what could you do to improve your process? So ask yourself, are you asking your families over the telephone, if you're doing telephone sales, are you asking them to write down what you're talking about? Because then they can see it. Then they understand what they don't understand, I think is really what's so important during that time. Because then at that point, when they go to write it down, if they don't understand what you're saying, they're going to say, hey, can you repeat that part about the mortgage protection and what it does? Because I don't get it. And you're going to get more responses like that, so that at the end, they're not saying they have something to think about. They don't have anything to think about because now they understand what you're talking about. So I wrote down 3 basic ways that you can help yourself and help your families better and improve your communication. And one is having your family take notes. Have them take notes alongside of what you're talking about. If you ever get the chance to listen to Elijah book appointments, plug into one of his Zoom trainings, because he has people write things down all the time. And he does such a great job of walking them through and accurately saying what it is that he's trying to deliver with the family. Also, the reason why he's one of the top producers in our group. 2 is ask the family to repeat back to you what you just covered with them. We're actually driving to a family's house right now that's doing the coverage with us, where yesterday we had her repeat the coverage back to us many times. And we even put her son on the phone to have him ask her to repeat the things, because she was just saying what I was saying. She didn't understand. So I put the son on the phone. The son asked his mom, like, Mom, what are you wanting? Or what does the $55 coverage do for you? And when she repeated it back to him, or the first time she didn't. The first time she was like, well, it does I guess I don't understand. And I was like, perfect. Like, I'm so glad we're having this conversation this way, because if I had applied her for that coverage, there's a good chance she would have canceled it because she doesn't know what it does. So we're actually going to her house right now to make sure she fully understands what she's applying for. So you got to do what you got to do. So ask your families to repeat back to you what you just covered. And number 3, if possible, add Zoom to your tool belt. Add Zoom to your tool belt. And that's why we have the PowerPoint, guys. Symmetry created a mortgage protection PowerPoint so that, because they know most people are visual learners. So add it, work on it, get better at your craft, do that with your spouse, do that with your upline, and practice using Zoom more, just so that you can get better at relaying the information and making sure the message is clear. So now, as for you guys, do you want to remember what I just ran through? So that's what I love about Miranda. She asks all the questions that you don't want to really ask yourself. You're really good at asking other people, right? So do you want to remember what I just ran through with you guys? So after this call, review your notes that you took. Like, as soon as we get done with this call at 11 o'clock, review the notes that you took, right? And then highlight the sections that you want to implement today. After that, set a timer. Just do it. If you want to separate yourself from everybody else on this call, set a timer for 18 minutes from then. And then when the timer goes off, re-review your notes. You will set yourself apart from everyone else, and you will leave your families better than how you found them. So that's all I had as far as covering chapter 3. I know it's like a whole lot of information, and I felt like if I went any further throughout the book that we would end up missing this part. So that's what I had to cover.
Love it, girl. No, absolutely. That's super good stuff. And I hope everybody out there just gets it, man. Just gets the book. And because that right there is such a great book. And I love what you said about have your family take notes. You know, if you ever become unconscious competent in a project that you've done for so many times and so many years, I look back and I was like, I asked myself when you were saying that, Jordan, I said, do I do that? And I was like, oh my God, I did that in every appointment I ever did. And I also did it in every, if anybody ever gets on my Zoom STP, what's one of the things I ask my interview person? I said, hey, you got a pen and a notepad. I need you to take notes. Mm-hmm. I just, you know what I mean? And when you said that, I was like, no, I do that in every appointment. And I did that. And anybody's ever heard me book live appointments for a client, I've always said, hey, Jordan, hey, Jared, have y'all got something to write with? That was even in a booking appointment. That was one of the questions that I asked him. And then taking it serious, like enough to wait for them to actually do it. Because there's the assumption part. Some people assume, well, that they did that. I actually make sure they did it. Does that make sense? Like I make sure, and I'll go, so Jordan, did you get that? Did you get that down? Okay, you know, like if I say something, I'll re-ask them again because I realize some people wouldn't do it when I first asked. They'll just say, yeah, I got it. And I'll be like, well, Jordan, were you able to get that down? What time do I have you down for? You with me? And you asking that question back and being bold enough, but in a good, clear way where you're trying to help somebody. So I love that stuff, Jordan. I'm sitting here taking notes left and right. And, you know, it takes me back to a time. It's like that, the three things that you did to eliminate, to think about it. You know, it's you got to ask yourself, do they not like you? Is it too expensive, or do they just not understand it? And I think if you take care of those three, you know, what was it you were saying, Jordan? You said that would average 2 more applications in general a week. Is that what you're saying? You'd help 2 more
I was
families.
saying, yeah, I was saying as long as you can, if you can help the ones that just need, that don't understand,
Yep.
let alone the ones that it's just too expensive with what you've showed them. If you help the families that just don't understand, you should be adding 2 additional apps a week into your portfolio, into your impact. You should be able to help 2 more.
Yeah. And, you know, if we just do the math on that, Jordan, believe it or not, for anybody, brand new agent out there, it's helping 2 more families. That's 100 more families a year. And then everybody you've trained, if they help 100 more families a year, can you imagine just the exponential amount of families you help? I mean, the great part is because 50% of men will get cancer in their lifetime, 33% of women, just like you just said, right? 50% of men will have a heart attack in their lifetime. Scares me to death every day thinking about it. But it's just the impact that we have on people, because this is absolutely, even though nobody thinks it's going to happen to them, it absolutely, percentage-wise, is going to happen to a lot of us. And so I love that, and that's adding value. And if you guys think about that as a result standpoint out there, what Jordan was teaching you guys, if you help 2 more families a week, on average, you're making an extra $700 to $1,000 a week in income for you and your family. So I hope everybody out there gets that message that she's saying. If you know, it's a Zig Ziglar thing. The more you focus on helping other people get what they want, you will get everything in life that you want, right? So tremendous, tremendous, girl. I appreciate that so much. So you were going to cover chapter 4, but I'm almost thinking let's save that till next week.
Yep. You know, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking about how she was talking about topic hopping. Yeah. I was like, I feel like this is 2 separate conference calls.
Right. Yeah, I do too.
Covering
too good.
Those 2. Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of information.
You nailed it on the head on this one. I thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate you on that. I hope everybody took notes on that stuff, and I love her advice, because I love reading this book where Amanda says, you know, you write the notes down then 18 minutes from now, and then, you know, she has a separate set of times that you read back and you review those notes. And I just tell you guys, from personal experience, that has meant so much to my career. And I pray that you guys go out there and you apply that to your business. Thank you, Jordan Gillum. Appreciate you on the call. And everybody go out there and have a great week. Leaders, I've got you guys up for just a few minutes, a little quick huddle up, and then we'll have our huddle up from there. Everybody have a great week. Thanks, everybody.